welcome back. This is the AFC West preview, and we're back to give you the preview of all the divisions. We're going to start with the AFC. We already did the East. We're on the West right now. We're jumping left to right, right to left, depending on what coast you're on. Let's start off with the bottom of the basement. Bottom of the basement, I feel this year is going to be the San Diego Chargers, and usually I put them closer to the top, and usually I have Kansas City at the bottom. This year, I just don't see it happening for the Chargers. Ryan Matthews gets hurt on the very first play of preseason. He's been a fragile Fred, and let's face it, I mean, he could be out a couple weeks, may not even be ready for the start of the season. Vincent Brown just got injured. He could be out 6 to 8 weeks, they're saying. I know they have Eddie Royal there and Meacham, and it's just a bunch of makeshift receivers, to be honest with you. Phillip Rivers doesn't have a ton to work with, although he does have a healthy Gates, which is good for him. The only problem with that is I think the defense is going to leave them on. The defense is good. It's just not going to be good enough because that offense won't be able to produce enough time on the field to keep the defense off the field. Look for the Chargers, and let's face it, I mean, North Turner's still there. What the hell's going on? I look for the Chargers to scrape the bottom of that division this year. Maybe 7-9. I don't even know if that's going to happen. Maybe 8-8 at best, which is what they did last year, and they didn't make the playoffs. Third place, I'm looking for this. Yes, the Chiefs. I know they're going to have a healthy Jamal Charles back, and Jamal Charles had plenty of time since he was injured so early on last year to recover from his injury. Should be strengthened up. I think Hillis there is going to be a big impact for them. I think the offense will move as long as Castle moves. Castle hasn't done much in the last couple of years. This is his last hurrah, I think, with the Chiefs. Dwayne Bowe's finally in. I don't know too much McClusters. If they're gonna, we've been talking about McClusters now, Dexter McClusters, for a couple of years, being an intricate part of the offense. I just haven't seen it happen yet. Maybe it'll happen this year. I don't know. They're a little too iffy. I know they have a pretty decent defense, but again, that offense has to be on the field for that defense to be good in most games, and this is a very tough division to play in. I look for the Chiefs to kind of bring up third in this division, maybe 7-9, possibly 8-8. Moving into second place, yes, I'm going to put my Raiders in second place. I'm not going to go headstrong with them up in first place this year. I do like the fact that Carson Palmer is there through a full camp, through a full offseason. Denarius Moore is somewhat healthy right now. I think they're going to be a very good hookup. There's two other receivers there, Kreiner and Streeter, who have been really a splash in the preseason. I also love Run DMC this year. I like him to stay healthy, knock on wood, through most of the season. After the Liz Frank injury, I think that's hopefully it for him for injuries. Last year, he could have came back and played in the playoffs if the Raiders had made it. They just needed to win that last game, which obviously didn't happen. Look for DMC to have a tremendous year. I look for Palmer to, I mean, if you've been watching the preseason so far, you just saw a little microcosm of what he's going to be able to do with Palmer back there with another year under his belt and to be able to work with that team. Look for Palmer to have a tremendous year and the defense to be very good with Dennis Allen, new coach, new head coach. Defensive-minded coach, youngest coach in the NFL. Gee, that's a switch for the Raiders, right? But look for that defense to really come alive this year, and the reduction of penalties is the big thing for the Raiders. If they can reduce the penalties, they can win a lot more games. Without penalties last year and losing fourth quarter leads that they had, second half leads that they had because of them, they could have won that division last year easily. Now, moving into the first place team, yes, I see Denver. And the Raiders could be tend not to regress, but I look at them as possibly 9-7, 10-6 this year. Denver could be 10-6 or 12-4, depending, maybe even 11-5. It all really depends on Manning. You can't really doubt Manning, and you've seen what he did with the Colts in the past. Although we haven't seen him in a year, he has one of the best offensive lines in the division, maybe even in the NFL, as they've been together now a solid 2-3 years. Look for that offensive line to move, and as long as Peyton Manning, who I know has been having a little bit of a rough preseason, has thrown some picks, not all of them his fault, but with Decker, Demaryius Thomas, who, I mean, look what Demaryius Thomas did last year with Tebow throwing to him. Can you imagine a healthy Manning with that offensive line throwing to him, what he's going to do? I look for the Denver Broncos to win this division this year, Raiders to be a close second, Chiefs, and then the Chargers. That is my AFC West preview. And again, look for the lock around the clock to come back strong this year. Again, 3 years running now, our average at about 70+% over 3 years. That's just tremendous. If you don't believe me, go back and look at all the videos. They're on YouTube. You can see for yourself. Plus, we're lights out on the Super Bowl every year. Look for that to come up in another week or two right before the season starts. And until then, you take it easy.